Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first video of the 2024 NFL Pickems for this year's season. We took a year off last year, and now we're coming back here, and now we have 10 people in this group of Pigskin Pickems, and we also have the defending champion who is playing again to defend his two-time belts. He's going to go for 3 in a row. As far as I've been doing pick'ems for my adult life, that for the last couple of years, I've never seen someone go 3 straight in a row. So he is looking for right now to become the only person that I know of in my group of buddies to go for 3 in a row. So we'll have to see what he does there, and maybe he's able to do it. So let's get right into it, shall we? Thursday, tomorrow night at 8:20, we have the Baltimore Ravens going into the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are looking to become maybe the only 3-time champions, back-to-back-to-back champions in the NFL history. This is going to be a very close game. The last opening season game the Chiefs had, they lost to the Detroit Lions. And historically, when Super Bowl champions have hosted the season opener, they are 38-18-2. I do think this game is going to be, I would say, a battle of the running backs, and I do think the running backs is going to determine this game. The defense for the Ravens is always going to be hot to start the year. They've always seem to get it going earlier in the year. Lamar seems to get it going earlier in the year as well with his running game and his passing. They did pick up a couple wide receivers this offseason. They also picked up Derrick Henry, which was a massive boost to the run game. I'm only favoring the Chiefs slightly in this matchup. I might change it the day of the game, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I just think that as long as you have Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid there's a good chance that you are going to win this game. And they might have some fun doing it at the same time. Then we go to the Friday night game. Friday, who would have thought we have a Friday night game in the NFL? This time it's in Brazil, not the United States. We have the Green Bay Packers playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this is a good game. I do think this is going to be the determination of what can Jordan Love do in year 2 as a full-on starter. He was great last year. Unexpectedly got his team to the playoffs, knocked off the Dallas Cowboys, who people thought were just going to run over the young, inexperienced team, and they showed don't mess with the unexperienced because this young team was very good and put up 40 on the Cowboys. I do think, and also the Eagles, Jalen Hurts was injured last year. They didn't have a lot of consistency on the offense. They started to putter out later in the year. Their defense starting to get down a little bit. But maybe this is the turnaround year. Maybe this is a turnaround. They got additional weapons. They got better on the offense. They got better on the defense for the Eagles. Packers picked up Jacobs at running back. So, hey, maybe there's a good chance the run game is better for them. They did lose A.J. Dillon for the year, which was a major hit to their team, but I think they're going to be pretty much okay in terms of the offense. I do think this is going to be a barn burner in terms of the passing game. So I'm favoring the Eagles in this matchup. I do think the Eagles, at this point in their juncture with Jalen Hurts, and in the long term, they have to get on a hot start. They have to get as many games up in this NFC because you know the Niners are going to be there at the end of the year. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be fighting for it, and you know these other teams who are up and coming, like the Packers and the Lions, are going to try and fight for that number 1 seed. So I'm going to have to go for the Eagles to win this game. Then we have the Sunday games. We have the first game here, the Pittsburgh Steelers going to the Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith coming back to Atlanta from leaving the head coach, from getting fired from the Atlanta Falcons as his head coach, to becoming the Steelers offensive coordinator. And Kirk Cousins being the quarterback of the Falcons going there in free agency, and Russell Wilson coming to the Steelers along with Justin Fields. Now, this is going to be a very concerning game for Pittsburgh, in my opinion. Our defense is good enough at this point, barring injuries, knocking on wood, to start the year where our defense is going to have to carry us until I see otherwise. I do think it's going to be since it's a 1 o'clock game, we know Kirk Cousins is going to have a high statistical output. It's the matter of can the Steelers' offensive line protect Russell enough on passing plays, let alone run plays, but passing plays to help give him time to throw the ball down the field to George Pickens, to Van Jefferson, and to the rest of these wide receivers and Harrison, or Najee Harrison, and the rest of these players on the offense. I'm going with Pittsburgh here. I'm not too favorable of the outcome. The Falcons are opening at 3-point favorites. If the Falcons win it, I'll not be surprised. It's going to come down to the Steelers' offensive line and can we actually score points this year on offense. That's what's going to come down to. Then we have the Buffalo Bills playing the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills here. Until I see otherwise, yes, they did lose Stephon Diggs, but they picked up Coleman from the draft from FSU, who was a really, really good wide receiver in college. Arizona, I don't really know about Kyler Murray. I think this is Kyler Murray's last shot, in my opinion, to be a starter quarterback in the NFL. He's got to prove it this year, especially when they picked up Marvin Harrison Jr., so you got to be going all out this year. At least trying to win your division at least. But I do think it's going to end off on a 0-1 start for the Cardinals, and I'm going with the Bills to start 1-0 to start the year. Then we got the Chicago Bears playing the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be the first game professionally in regular season game for Caleb Williams, playing against the Will Levis-led Titans, who had a couple of good games last year for the Titans. They still got DeAndre Hopkins there, so who knows? Maybe they did have a couple of games last year where he was connecting with DeAndre Hopkins. So who knows? I'm looking forward to this game. This is going to be one of those I must-watch games in terms of the young players in this league. But I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears have something with Caleb Williams as long as he can stay healthy and he doesn't do what he did in his last year of college where he started to show signs of, okay, are you really that guy, or are you just big when it matters, or are you just big in the games that it shouldn't matter? So I'm going to go with the Bears in this one. Though I expect Caleb Williams to have a good output, but we'll have to wait and see. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals playing the New England Patriots in Cincinnati. I just think, as of right now, Jamar Chase has been reported at camp. He's been practicing now. That's a good sign coming into the first game. I don't think he's going to be in NFL midseason shape for at least the first 3 weeks of the season. But I do expect the offense to be still better than the Patriots by a landslide, especially with them starting Jacoby Brissett. I just don't expect the Bengals to lose this game. I don't anticipate it. I expect the Bengals to win this game by at least a touchdown, if not 10 points. I'm not banking on it, but between that range is what I'm thinking. I'm going with the Bengals to win this one. Then we have the Houston Texans playing the Colts, where this could be one of those games where I honestly think it's a toss-up in terms of as long as everyone's healthy. Now, I might look stupid saying that, but if you look at, yes, Houston got dramatically better in the offseason. Got Stephon Diggs. They picked up Joe Mixon from the Bengals. Their wide receivers who got injured are coming back from injury. They are so good weapon-wise on the offense that C.J. Stroud should have another high statistical year, just only his second year as a quarterback. But we also have to think the Colts. Anthony Richardson was injured most of the last year with concussions and shoulder injuries that kind of put him out for the year. Coming in this year, I expect him, as long as he knows when he has to run, he has to get down and slide before getting hit. This team could be good with Anthony Richardson, but I think it's going to be a barn burner to the end. But I do give the edge to the Houston Texans in this matchup. I'm favoring the Texans to go out there and show that they are the cream of the crop in the AFC South, and they should be a team to be feared. Then we have the Jacksonville Jaguars going to the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins just extended their head coach. They paid Tua this offseason. They moved some money around to get some other players. They drafted a couple of defensive rookies who I think are going to do good for them this year. I expect them to be pretty good. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is. I don't think he's in terms of the guy, but I just think he has at least a few more years before he's ready. Then that offense is not ready yet for this. Ready enough to go out and win the big games. They can win the games that are like very close and when they're maybe favored to win. The Dolphins' offense, as long as their offense is clicking like it was last year for the majority of the season, they're going to be very hard to beat. And if Tua is ready to make that next step in terms of a quarterback and actually win the big games when it matters the most, watch out. The AFC is going to be a hard road through the Miami if they could actually get things clicking. But I'm going with the Miami Dolphins in this one. Then we have the Carolina Panthers going to New Orleans. Now, Bryce Young, year 2. Are we going to see much of a change? Derek Carr, year 2. Are we seeing much of a change? I don't expect either change between them. I do think the Saints are going to have at least a collective better year in terms of record-wise. I don't think it's going to be too big of a difference. I don't expect the Carolina Panthers to improve that much. I still think, even with the addition of Deontay Johnson from the Steelers, I don't think it's going to improve their offense well enough for their defense to help them. I just think that the Saints have at least the quarterback who's been in the situation. They have weapons coming back. Michael Thomas is suspended for the first, I think, few weeks of the season, so that's not going to very much matter to them because they played much of the season last year without him, and he's been dog shit the last 3 years. So I'm going to go with the Saints in this one. If the Saints lose this, I will be very shocked, in my opinion, considering that on paper they should not lose, but who knows? It's the NFL. Then we have the Minnesota Vikings playing the Giants. This is a key game from my perspective in terms of if J.J. McCarthy was not done for the year after his one preseason game, I do think he would have won the starting job. But because the quarterback for the Vikings is now no longer Kirk Cousins, but Sam Darnold, it kind of makes me think that the Giants are going to win this game. Who knows? Maybe Sam Darnold learned a thing or two when he was in San Fran behind Brock Purdy for a year. Maybe he learned from Brock Purdy. Who knows? I'm going to go with the Vikings on this. I am not going to be upset if the Giants win. If the Giants win, good on you. Because it's a prove-it year for them and Daniel Jones. Because if Daniel Jones doesn't get it done this year in terms of winning that division or getting him into the playoffs, he's done as an NFL quarterback. In my opinion, he'll be done. So I'm going with the Vikings. Then we have the Los Angeles Chargers playing the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm actually going with the Chargers in this one. I do think that with the return of Harbaugh from Michigan coming back to the NFL was the right moment for him. He did everything he had to do in college. Now he gets to train these up-and-coming, or all these players on this Chargers roster to implement his offensive idea, his offensive style. And I think we're going to see the most statistical better year for Justin Herbert in a long time, since probably his rookie year in terms of his statistical output. They did lose a couple massive players, Eckler to the Commanders, Mike Williams to the Jets. I do think, though, they have enough on that offense, given what they got in return. Yes, they got J.K. Dobbins, who's been injury-prone, and Gus Edwards from the Ravens. But I do think this offense is good enough to win games, and this is one of those games where I think they can definitely win this one. It's going to be close because it's a rivalry game, but I do expect the Chargers to come out with the win. Then we have the Denver Broncos playing against the Seattle Seahawks. I was debating this one because, again, I know preseason doesn't matter a lot in the NFL. You should take preseason to the heart. But there is something with Bo Nix. There is something that this rookie has that Sean Payton sees, and they're going with him to start the year as a rookie. I'm gonna test if he is what they say he is, and from what I've seen, we could. I'm not saying it as a comparison, but we could see potentially maybe a Russell Wilson-esque, Drew Brees-esque year one in terms of their statistical outputs. Russell Wilson in terms of his year one success in the NFL where he got to the playoffs as a rookie in terms of statistical, in terms of Drew Brees. So there's that potential as a rookie. Now, I don't expect their offense to be to be very, very good this year, the Broncos. I don't expect their defense to be very, very good at all either. Who knows? We'll find out this week in this week one. Seattle's hard to play in no matter what type of year it is, just based off the fans and how loud it can get there. But I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. Only for the fact that Geno's been there for some time now. He knows how to run this offense. He's going to get it done with those weapons that he has, and hopefully the running backs can stay healthy, and DK Metcalf can stay healthy for a whole year, and Tyler Lockett as well. Now we come to the game where I think is going to be America's game of the week to watch, is the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Cleveland, Ohio to play the Cleveland Browns. This is a game where I think it has a lot of, even though it's week one, this is going to determine a lot in terms of where the Cowboys are right now and where the Browns are. Yes, it's week one, but in terms of is Dak really the quarterback for this team, the Cowboys? This is a prove-it year for him, in my opinion. If you don't get it done this year and get into the playoffs and make the NFC Championship game minimum, you're gone. Sorry, dude. You proved that you're not good. You're just basically Romo in a different uniform. That's what it comes down to. Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson. He's got to prove it this year. They paid him all that guaranteed money to get him there. Hasn't proven that he's worth that money. This is a prove-it year for both these quarterbacks, and why not have it be in the first game of the year to prove it to both of them? Are they the right fit for their team? I'm going with the Cowboys to win this one, but I have a feeling the Browns defense is going to be the one that puts up the most points in this matchup on both sides of the field and for both teams. The Browns defense is a Super Bowl level talent team. It's just their offense is what costs them a handful of their games. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys in this one. I might switch this one to the Browns the day of the game. Just saying. Then we come to the other 425 game. We have the Commanders playing the Tampa Bay Bucks. I am debating. This is one of those ones I was debating because of Jalen Daniels now being named the starter for the Commanders, and the team seems to be very comparison like to when Robert Griffin III when he was there, in terms of they have a very, very mobile quarterback who is very quick on the run. He's got a good arm on him. He's got some adequate weapons on this team. Yes, they got rid of Jahan Dotson to the Eagles for a couple of picks, but Scary Terry's still there. Terry McLaurin is still there. They have Eckler now, he's been injury prone, but he's still a very, very good running back in this league. I think that if anything, that this game could be a very, very good stepping stone for Jalen Daniels. But when we look at the Bucks, Baker Mayfield, he got paid. This is now time for him to show that he's still a very, very valuable quarterback at the starting position. Last year he did pretty good. He beat the Eagles in the playoffs. Not the playoffs. The previous year he beat the Eagles in the playoffs. Last year, not so much. He had an okay season, but who knows? I'm looking forward to it. This game. He beat the Eagles last year. My bad. He beat the Eagles last year. So who knows? I'm expecting very good season out of him, and I'm expecting actually them to win the division again. I expect them to win that division and get back to the playoffs and actually try to make it to the second round and beat whoever they play in the second round. I do think that is possible, depending who it is. But I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks in this one. I would not be surprised if the Commanders win. I would not be surprised. Then we have the Sunday night football game. The Rams playing the Detroit Lions. Detroit coming off a fantastic season last year. Yes, it ended short just of the Super Bowl for them, but they were so close. They were so close to getting to that Super Bowl. Literally a couple plays here and there, and unfortunately for them, they pulled as much as I would like to do it, they pulled a stupid move. They pulled the 49ers move where every time where their head coach got into the situation where he had the game, they stalled. When there's situations where you had to be or Kyle Shanahan, that's what I'm thinking, Kyle Shanahan. Whenever you had chances to put the ball away and put the game away, they couldn't do it. They stopped. They started to get conservative, play within their game, just trying to cut the time down to get out of there. You can't be doing that in the playoffs. You got to go for the kill shot. You got to go and try and put that team away and make sure they have no shot to come back. But I do think they're going to learn from that. I think they're going to build from that this year. I think they're going to take a step back in terms of, I don't think they're going to win the division this year in that division. I think it's another team. But I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to make the NFC Championship again, in my opinion. And who knows? We'll see what happens when they get to there. But I'm going with the Detroit Lions to win this one. Then we have the Monday Night Football game. The New York Jets and the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers, 100% healthy. Let's hope he can last more than 4 plays at his age. Playing against Brock Purdy, who the last handful of years, man, Brock Purdy's been the best young quarterback in the league behind the most weapon-heavy offense in the league. CMC was injured in the one preseason game. He's been out since. I do expect he's going to play that game. To what degree of percentage healthy-wise he'll be is to be determined, but I do expect him to be good enough to help move the ball, get him in positions where they're going to use Ayuk, who they just re-signed. As much as I would love to have him on the Steelers, at least it's over. We can worry about whenever the time comes. Deebo Samuels is still there. George Kittle is still there. That offense for the Niners is still pretty good, unless something dramatic happens, which I don't see it happening. We'll have to hope that or think that the Niners are going to win this game. The Jets have, as long as Rodgers is healthy, they have a quarterback who's able to get the ball down the field to his weapons, to his wide receivers and running backs, and guide this team when it's game time, crunch time, 2-minute drill. When you want to go win the game, who you put the ball in their hands, that'll be Aaron Rodgers. Based on this matchup, it is week 1. I'm going based off collectively what I've seen for the last few years for the Niners. I'm going with the Niners to win this one. I do expect it to be a very close game. I think it's going to be very close the majority of the time, leading up to maybe the fourth quarter in the last 10 minutes, where I think someone's going to take a two-digit or a double-digit lead, and at that point it'll be over. But I do think the Niners are going to win this one. If the Jets win it, that is a heck of a start after last year where they knew their season was over as soon as Rodgers went down. So we'll have to wait and see, but those are my picks for week 1, folks. Let me know what you think, and to everyone who's in the Pickems, good luck to you all. We'll see what happens after week 1, and that will set the precedent for how this season might go. See you all then.